Haynes King. That's not the name most of us thought we were going to be talking about following the NFL Hall of Fame game, but it's who we're going to talk about up next. And if you don't know who he is, we're going to introduce you to him here on No Buts About It. What's up, everyone? My name is Josh Butts. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on No Buts About It on this beautiful Friday morning. Now, if maybe you're catching up, I talked to some people last night who were like, why are you talking about the Cardinals and the Panthers so much? And they didn't actually know there was a preseason game last night. That maybe that's a little bit on me, but I'm going to blame NFL marketing for that as well. They have more money. But yeah, there was an NFL game last night. Carson Beck, he had a great showing. We're going to talk about that next Thursday, the full episode. But there was a guy who really stuck out, and that is Carolina Panthers rookie quarterback Haynes King. And I want to discuss him a little bit because I don't think, or at least I didn't really know too much about him. And I feel that there are other people in that boat. I don't think I'm alone in this. Maybe you're just not really into college. Maybe you don't watch a ton of college football, and the college football you do watch isn't associated with Georgia Tech or a team that plays Georgia Tech, where Haynes King played his final season. So let's just do a brief little introduction into King. So undrafted free agent out of Georgia Tech. He had 2,951 passing yards in 2025, 953 rushing yards in 2025, which we're going to talk about. His rushing game is a big part of who he is as a player. He had 29 total touchdowns, 6 interceptions. 15 of those touchdowns were rushing touchdowns. So he had 14 passing. And then really, really interesting, he was the 2025 ACC Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year. And that includes Carson Beck. So he actually won this award over Carson Beck. Remember, Carson Beck finished his college career at Miami. So Haynes King, had a decent college career, was well respected. He just, his frame wasn't super lean, or was super lean. He wasn't super muscular. There were some concerns there. There were concerns with his accuracy, with his ball placement, but I think he played well enough last night. He actually shocked me in a lot of ways. When he came out, I was kind of thinking, okay, Kenny Pickett's gone. Now we're going to see the third string guy. I kind of enjoyed watching Haynes play more than I did Kenny. And, we did see a little bit of that bad ball placement here. I do wish now, of course, the receiver catches this, but I think a veteran quarterback throws that open a little bit so that receiver is able to continue to run with the ball and maybe get a few more yards, because they were playing that coverage very soft. Make it so that he doesn't have to dive. But overall, he had a good night last night. He went 21 for 34, 219 total yards, 3 total touchdowns, and he led a game-winning drive. Let's take a look at that game-winning drive, or at least the final 2 plays of that drive. And, people are going to say like, oh, it's a preseason game. It doesn't really matter. Remember, maybe to the fans it doesn't matter. We don't really care. But to these guys that are playing in these games, these are their job interviews. And, Haynes King may not, end up a Carolina Panther. He may not be there when the 53-man cutdown happens. But he's putting footage on tape right now for other NFL teams who maybe are looking for a backup quarterback, or maybe there's a team that has an injury. They're like, hey, remember that Haynes King guy? What's he doing? And they sign him. And, crazy things have happened. I mean, look at Brock Purdy. He was the final guy drafted, very last pick in his year, and now he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. And he beat out a guy who was at one point the 3rd overall pick in their draft, in Trey Lance. So just, crazy things happen in the NFL. So don't write anyone off. You never know what's going to happen. But so this final 2 plays of this, or final two highlights of this drive were really, really exciting because we got to see Haynes King come in as a rookie, take his first NFL snaps, and, feel that pressure. And he played really, really well. He made some good decisions here, and we're going to look at just two of them here. So he's going to throw to his right, and it's a high up ball. Placement's really good. It made sure the Cardinals defenders weren't able to get it. But this was where things really got interesting. So he doesn't like the look. He could have thrown to the number 37 there, but he decides not to. And I like that decision because I think 37 would have been picked off. I think Haynes King would have been picked off if he had thrown to number 37. So let's look at those two plays again. And I want you to, on this second play, watch 37. He's going to be on the top right. So here, he's going to come out of the backfield and he's going to take the corner and the linebacker with him. And that opens up the line for King to dive and get the game winning rush. He makes that decision. Very smart decision, veteran level decision from Haynes King, something we may not have expected from a rookie quarterback who didn't even come into this game as a drafted pick. So I think that was a very, very smart play on his part, and something that head coach Dave Canales should come to consider. And I also wanted to look at a few other things. So we talked about the bad ball placement, and let me play that again here. I just think there could have been a little bit more done. I think he could have led the receiver open a little bit more. I like this play better. I think he does a better job here of leading his receiver, and we see a touchdown out of it. So the receiver doesn't have to stop in that instant. He doesn't have to slow down. He's able to just keep going on his route, and he's able to get the first down and a touchdown out of it. So I think if he had done that on that other play, we would have seen some more yards out of Haynes King. But he's a rookie. There's still veteran quarterbacks who struggle with that. Just something I wanted to point out because otherwise it was going to be all pros. I also, he threw into triple coverage here. I think it's fine. It works, but 44 there. I think a veteran linebacker probably gets that pick off because he just really wasn't paying attention. Watch 44. It just kind of goes by him, and it's a good strong ball. It's a hard ball. I like the pass, but dangerous. It's a dangerous play. I don't know that he needed to make it in that situation. So that's where some of that rookiness comes out, and that kind of idea of, oh, well, it's just a preseason game. They're playing against third stringers. But he's also a third stringer. So, I mean, we're balancing it out there. I do think that maybe decision making could be tweaked just a little bit, but I like where he's at. And his passing mechanics could be tweaked just a little bit, but he's making really good decisions, or at least veteran level decisions that sometimes we see young players struggle with. Another example is this in the fourth quarter when they were on that game winning drive. They're out of timeouts. He's going to take off here from the pocket. He doesn't like any of his looks. And instead of, fighting for the extra yards, he manages to get out of bounds. And that's really smart because that stops the clock. And again, that's something sometimes young quarterbacks forget to do, or young receivers. They fight. And there were only 2 seconds left on the clock during that final play. And so if he had fought, those 2 seconds would have mattered. Maybe they end up losing the game. So very, very intelligent move from Haynes King to not only use his legs to pick up the yardage that they needed to get into a winning position, but also to not, focus on himself, but remember the greater goal here as a team. And then finally, just one other play I wanted to highlight because a lot of these passes that we showed off were kind of short. He's got an arm. Dude launched it. 3rd and 15, backed up into his own red zone, and he launches it and gets the first down. Great throw from Haynes King. I think he's got it. I was very, very excited to watch him. Let's look at his comparison between him and Kenny Pickett. So Kenny Pickett only had 11 pass attempts. He completed 8 of them. Not bad at all. About a 72% completion rate. 62 total yards, 0 total touchdowns. And then King came in, 21 out of 34, 219 total yards, 3 total touchdowns, and of course that game winner. So ultimately, Haynes King did have the better game. Bryce Young was cheering him on the sideline. It's clear that these guys have good chemistry already. So that's not really a concern. You know, you want your backup to have good chemistry with your quarterback. And like I said, I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's going to get cut here, but I do think it's really good to see this undrafted free agent kind of get a chance. And I'd like to see him get a chance with the Carolina Panthers. Can he continue to develop? Can he continue to grow into an exciting player? And the expectations are lower for him. He's an undrafted free agent compared to Kenny Pickett, who's been in the league for a few years, former first round pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but who ultimately plays better in Dave Canales' offense. And I think Haynes King has forced that conversation. And if Haynes King does ultimately end up getting waived, if he ends up getting cut from this roster, I think that he's forced a lot of eyes to look at him when it comes to the backup quarterback position. Will he eventually be a starter? Probably not, but he could develop. Again, like I said at the top of this, anything can happen. Haynes King is someone who I'm going to be paying attention to. He's forced my eyes onto him, and I think you should be paying attention to him as well. He's really fun to watch as well, even from he plays like, this is his last football game ever, and it's just really exciting. I understand why Georgia Tech fans liked watching him and why he ended up winning the awards he did. But let me know what you think about Haynes King down below. Do you think he has a future as a quarterback in the NFL, whether it be backup, starter? What do you think? I appreciate all of you for stopping by. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.